Let me take another one, man. I didn't really get much peach. I just got sour.
When you say,
he's going. Hey, like he said, go ahead, Peter.
when you go for 2 swigs, you're hoping that the first.
Yeah, you're hoping that something wasn't right there first.
Yeah, you're hoping that you was off on your first assessment, but you're like, nah.
He's essentially trying to make sure it's not trash.
Yeah, I was about to say we just put out a clip this week related to our ratings.
What was that?
This is going to start with a 3.
Should I go 3.75? According to B-Dub, 3.75s on the verge of decent, and according to E, 3.75s on the verge of trash. I think with that in mind, I'll go 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Trash. That's trash.
Hops and Stocks podcast is presented by 100 Spoke Media Group. We encourage our listeners to drink responsibly. Please note, we are not financial advisors. We do not offer or provide financial advice.
I'm Spoke affiliated from the city of Jim.
Welcome back to the Hops and Stocks podcast. This is episode 40, 40, brought to you by 100 Spoke Media Group. Our guest today is attorney Ross Wright. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the pod, my man.
Thank you very much, brothers. I appreciate y'all letting me come on and fellowship with you. It's much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
About Ross, man. I've been trying to get you on, man. I know you're a real interesting guy, so I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Appreciate the connection.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking over the bio, and I'm like, man, I don't know where this conversation gonna go.
It's impressive.
It's definitely impressive. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of good information on here. It looks like you've served in several roles, you know what I'm saying, throughout your career.
Yeah, I mean, I got my, obviously the legal stuff. So I went to UC, that's where I pledged at, in 86 to 90. And then I always figured that I wanted to do law, but I wanted to do law from a perspective of business. So after I finished undergrad, I was like, well, I could just bust out and do straight law school, or they had an MBA JD program. It was only at that time you'd have to do 2 years of MBA, 3 years of law. So it'd be 5 if you did them separately. So they had it combined where they would cross credit you, let you knock off a year. And I was like, shit, I'm young. It's only 1 more year. And then, if truth be told, what was interesting at UC at the time is the law school was on semesters, and then the MBA school was still on quarters, as was most of UC. So as I was making my decision, because I didn't make the decision until I got started in law school to actually accept to do the MBA program. But I started looking at the calendar. I was like, well, you know what? If I do law school, I get out like in early May. And then if I accept the MBA, I ain't got to go back until the end of September. So I bought myself like 6 weeks extra time just by making that decision. But I didn't think it through all the way, because on the next year, the MBA school finished like in mid-June, and then law school started in early August. So I did that, did some years actually in the DA's office, the prosecutor's office. And that was interesting, because the stuff that you see on TV or reading case books, you think like, man, that didn't happen. That's just made up. There was some story. I mean, this unbelievable stuff. I mean, that people would do, and it would be like, man, I can't even believe that even. I can't even believe you did that. Like, you looking like, I know I'm here in court, but you're like, what? It's like listening to Herschel Walker talk about the shooting in Texas. It was like that, but it was in the context of doing that. So I did that for some years. Then I worked at a big law firm doing just civil litigation.
Yeah.
And I've worked for some big companies and stuff doing compliance and legal work. I've been blessed by God to travel the world and negotiate deals in different parts of the country. On the side, I was teaching UC and Xavier, and I still teach in the MBA program at Xavier, because I think that's probably I'm not going to be the country time lemonade retirement person that sits. It's in my DNA. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I do have a routine in the morning. I never see myself as the guy that's just dormant. So I'm probably going to do teaching and consulting and solar technology as kind of my post, like, real job stuff. So I've been really blessed, man. I've met, meeting brothers like you. I've known Doug and other brothers through the fraternity. There have been innumerable opportunities through that. And I'm really just about trying to do all I can in the limited amount of time we got in this life to actually make a difference. Because I tell my sons, I got twin boys that are 27, And I tell them, look, at the end of the day, I've done some pretty significant deals in terms of contracts and just all kinds of stuff professional. But I've also simultaneously seen family members die, friends die, people die sooner than they should. And you start saying, you know what? Nobody's really, really gonna care about certain things that you might think was important.
Yeah.
When they get down to the nitty gritty, they're not gonna say, man, he negotiated this deal or he did it. That's not gonna be the thing people are gonna remember. So it's like, what are you actually doing to move the needle? I mean, all that stuff is important. You gotta have a lifestyle and all that, but you gotta do things to move the needle. So I've branched off in terms of my life into, you know, there's a martial arts part, there's some wellness. I got a lot of passion around solar energy. I got a lot of passion around things like, you know, even estate planning, financial planning, making sure that you're taking care of your business so that your life is just smooth, man, to make it less stressful. So
Ross,
we talk about whatever.
We're gonna get into all that. We're gonna
Yes, sir.
Hey, Doug, let me tell a story right quick.
All right, go ahead, bro.
Hey, Ross, I heard you talking about, you know, being in the courts, and, you know, some of the crazy stuff you hear. I had to go to court. I got hit by a drunk driver a long time ago.
Oh, man. Sorry to hear about that.
And, you know, they call you in the court about 8 o'clock. But, you know, you never know when you're going to go. So, like, I was sitting there with my attorney just kind of enjoying the show. Like you said, it was all sorts of craziness, people lying, saying they didn't do something and they did. But, man, there was this one cat. He came before the judge, and whatever, you know, he was charged with or in trouble with, you know, the judge let him go. He was cool to go. This cat sat down on the bench and kept watching the show, right? And so, you know, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes later, the bailiffs come in and they find him like, it's such and such here. And he's like, yeah. And they put the cuffs on him and arrest him because he had a warrant for some other
case.
stuff. I'm like, man, if the judge lets you go, get the hell out the courtroom.
Oh my God.
It was hilarious. I'm like, wow, this cat sat around just to watch the show and ends up getting arrested.
It's amazing, man. It's just some amazing stuff to see in the court. If you just spend a day, if you had a half a day just to spend down in the court, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but we're gonna leave it open, you know what I'm saying, to hop off into, you know what I'm saying, some more stories and dig into your background and your career field. But you know what I'm saying, like the folks expect and like we always do about this time, let's hop into these beer reviews, man. Get up what you're sipping on, brother.
Yeah, so I got, this is a little quick story real quick. So when the pandemic hit, if I like to travel, and most of my travel had been international, but hell, you couldn't go nowhere. So I was like, let me look at I literally took a tally of all the states I've been to. And I counted of April 2021, it was like 32, 33 states. I said, you know what? I'm going to hit all these states. I'm going to hit them all. So we hit a whole bunch of them, my wife and I last year. We're going to Jackson Hole, Wyoming and Montana in about 4 weeks. So that'll be, I think, 45 and 46. So we're getting closer. But
wow.
In the journey, we went to Milwaukee. And I'm not a huge beer drinker, you know, but I went to Milwaukee, went to these breweries, and I was like, man, I think I'm going to do this. So I came home, bought my own kit to make my own beer. And I thought it was not that big of a deal. And I got in the middle of it. I was like, damn, if I didn't know what I was doing, this was not work. And my wife came down in the kitchen and was like, who the hell you think you are, Anheuser-Busch? I tore up the kitchen. It could have been something that FEMA got involved with. It was so bad. Stuff was all over the place. But ultimately, I fixed it and went through all the process, cleaned out all these bottles, the fermentation, let it sit in the dark. And what I came up with, and Doug probably saw this on social media, is I took a bottle and I just put my Ross Lager on it. So it's not this brand. This is my brand of beer. And it's more of like a medium to light beer. But I was surprised because when I was done, it took about damn near, we went to Hawaii, came back, the shit still was in the closet because it had to be there. So we came back and was finally ready to drink. And I was like, hey, you know, we need to drink this beer. And my wife was like, you try that first.
Right. You go first.
So I drank it, and I was like, shit, this ain't too bad for some homemade brew. So she took a little bit of it, and then it just kind of go from there. So that's what I'm rolling with today. Is the Ross Lager, and that's it.
So if you had to give it a rating, we do 5 mugs here, with 5
Okay.
being the highest, 1 being the lowest. What would you rate your own brew?
I would put it at maybe about a 3, maybe slightly like 2.7. I give it about C plus. I mean, it ain't all that, but it was just more of just me. I like to learn stuff, and to me, learning is just whether or not it's like super successful. It's like, well, just something I did. Hell, I made beer in the kitchen. I screwed it up. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it again here ever. I may have to do it like at another. We got a little cabin someplace, so I might be able to do it out there. But I messed up this kitchen. It was bad.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that you tried it, man.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Well, you sipping on B-Dub?
Yeah, what you got, man? Hop in. Tap in, brother.
Set it off the right way, man.
What you got, man?
Let's talk about it. My shirt. I'm gonna let you know what's in this can. Compliment to my man Ryan.
Shout out to Ryan.
Blast and E and I went to a
you pulling that out?
You pulling it out?
in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, he don't want to share it?
Called Listerman's.
Yeah, man. I thought this was supposed to be a family event.
Hey.
What do you mean?
Like you was gonna share it with us.
Oh, I am. I'm not cracking it.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, I bought this at Listerman. So I never heard of something called mead. So what Eric was telling me is that it's not a beer. He was like, "Have you ever had mead before?" I was like, "Nah." He was like, "Well," he was giving me the impression that it was trash.
Yeah. Tell the story, man. This guy was shitting on the mead beer.
I didn't shit on the mead. I was just saying, have you had it? Because I know this guy's really peculiar about what he likes and what he doesn't like, and so I didn't want him to have the expectation like, "Hey, yo, this is gonna taste like some beer that you had before."
Okay, right. Fair assessment. So I got the flight. It was like one in the flight. He was asking me about the mead. I told him I never had the mead before. So he was just like, I said, "So what is it?" He was just like, and I was like, here we go. So I smelled it. It smells like wine. Now, I don't like wine because wine to me smells like feet. It smells like feet. I'm gonna be winded with you. Smell like feet.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, I really don't want to taste this. I took a swig of it. Hey man, it's fine.
Pretty good.
This is a 5.
The funny thing about that is I think me and you had it beat up, and it said love on our flight things, but I don't think that translated to my brain. So like when I took the first sip, my reaction was, "Oh, this is love."
Yeah.
And that's actually the name of the beer. It's called like This Love. I was like, I didn't put that together.
It's called This Love. So this is 14%. So it's got some punch to it. It's apple. It's kind of fruity. I couldn't crack it because the reason why I'm not cracking this is because I did promise I would share this with them, and this is the last one at Listerman.
So now I get something. Even though I wasn't at Listerman, I get something.
Right. So I'm gonna share this with the fellas. So it's almost similar to this color right here.
I see.
What's the ticket? What's the ticket on it?
This was $19.99.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a 20 spot
for 375 ml. So it's apple, it's fruity, it's got a vanilla bean to it.
I can't wait.
This is really good.
It's real smooth.
It looks good. I mean, it looks good.
14%. So if you like wine, you're gonna like this because wine is, I think it's fermented with like grapes. This is fermented with honey and water. So it's the same similar process, but this is really good. I don't know how readily available mead is on the shelf because I definitely haven't seen this on the shelf. This is at Listerman.
I've never seen that. Yeah.
I don't know if you can get it, but
That
if you can't get your hand on something mead, I would highly recommend you get that. 14%. This is love. Mead beer, 5 on the rating scale.
So there's different variations of mead. He just got
correct. So it's just like any other, what I'm saying, like style of beer. So you can get different flavors, different notes. And I forgot he was reviewing that. I probably should have looked up the spot down in Tampa. It's one of the more famous meaderies. And they got like an entire, tap list of meads. But yeah, it's like B-Dub said, it's a little more like kind of wine forward versus like beer from my experience with it. And I haven't had a lot. I've only had, a few offerings.
Yeah. I mean, highly suggest that. This is
that ABV is, pretty 14%. You talking stout.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it hit like a smooth cognac.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it hit like to me.
Some Hennessy?
I mean, actually better than him.
Henny Brew.
I've never seen you drink Hennessy, dude.
I mean, I drank it, back when it was cool to drink it for hip hop. But I'm like, after I, grew a little bit, I'm like, man, why am I drinking this? Is it just because my favorite rappers drink it? I'm like, I don't really appreciate the taste of this.
Drink it because you're black. Drink it 'cause you're black.
Man, hey, never mind.
Oh, censorship. He censored himself.
So, speaking of that, what you sipping on, Blaz?
All right, man. I'm dabbling in the sour today. 50 West again. I think this is like second 50 West in 2 or 3 weeks for me.
I'm telling you, y'all dudes got sponsorships you ain't telling nobody about.
Nah, you know, man, you kind of get caught up in the can work, and you already know. I mean, when I see the word peach cobbler, I'm going for it.
Oh yeah, can't blame you.
No brainer.
This is Get Baked by 50 West. Peach cobbler sour ale brewed with peach, apricot, cinnamon, vanilla, and lactose.
That
so we're gonna see what it's hitting like. Yeah, it's got that toast.
Lost me with that toast.
Oh man, that color is beautiful
50
though.
West is that joint? Is that over on Kellogg? Off Kellogg? Is that where they?
I think it's. Well, actually, it's on 50. It's on 50. Yeah, on 50.
Yeah.
That looks lovely. That color.
If that's not good, I'm gonna be highly disappointed.
Like orange juice.
It's a little sour. It's a little sour, man. I mean,
you don't like sours though.
Yeah, it is. It is a sour. I took a chance on it.
Yeah.
Not really. What I enjoy. I was hoping it might be a sweeter one, but it's definitely more on that sour side. So
what's the ABV?
Hey man, you get what it says.
That's true. That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, does it do what it says it does?
Oh yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. That sour. 5.3.
I say 5.
Let me take another one, man. I didn't really get much peach. I just got sour.
When you say,
he's going. Hey, like he said, go ahead, Bida.
When you go for 2 sweets, you're hoping that the first.
Yeah, you're hoping that something wasn't right that first.
Yeah, you're hoping that you was off on your first assessment, but you're like, nah.
He's essentially trying to make sure it's not trash.
Yeah, I was about to say we just put out a clip this week related to our ratings.
What was that?
This is going to start with a 3.
Should I go 3.75? According to B-Dub, 3.75's on the verge of decent, and according to E, 3.75's on the verge of trash. I think with that in mind, I'll go 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Trash. That's trash.
I mean, if I got to give it to you, I'm not really tasting the peach. True story. I don't really know what apricot tastes like, but I ain't tasting that either.
You taste the sour.
Yeah. I'm like, somebody put a whole lot of sour up in that joint. That's what you do taste. You do taste the sour.
I stay away from sours. I've had enough of them. Right. None of them are good to me. I don't care which one you get. I just can't fool it.
I was down at the Taste of Cincinnati, man, and it was, I think I told you all in the group text, it seemed like it was like a beer festival because all the local breweries.
Yeah, probably Ryan guys, all of them folks are probably
Taft,
Rain Brewery. Yeah.
I didn't see Street Side. I don't know what Street Side, they're not real social, I guess, because they didn't come out.
Do y'all think, let me just stepping back from the beer, do y'all think that like markets are getting oversaturated? Because I'm noticing it seems like a lot of breweries are coming up. Do you think that that's going to be sustainable, or do you think that at some point someone will be weeded out and the cream will rise to the top, or what do you guys think?
I would say, as with anything, if your product's not good, you're probably not going to last.
Not going to make it, yeah.
Yeah. There's, every day there's a brewery going out of business, because a lot of people think, they hop into something that they see as trendy. They see, a movement and they see other breweries, I'm saying, picking up and getting a huge following like back to back. But like I said, as with any business, if you don't have a good product and you're not marketable, then you're probably not gonna last.
Yeah, long. I just have noticed it just seemed like, man, there's a lot of breweries now, like a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, and these breweries are smart. They give a hops and stock so they can stay in business.
There you go.
There you go.
Great reviews.
There you go.
I'll say this though, man. I think the one thing, and this could be nationwide, but the one thing Cincy has gone with the breweries is there's so many different neighborhoods inside the city. So I'm like, if you can kind of make some hay in your neighborhood, you're good. You know, like if you was to be like, all right, I'm about to open up downtown, then, you know, you got some competition. But, you know, if you kind of stay to your neighborhood and, you know, maybe you're one of two in your neighborhood or one of one, you know, I think you got a little better shot. Yeah, build some of that loyalty.
Which is interesting because you don't see, like, you know, if you think about, you know, like, you think about, maybe I just don't know, like Avondale, Vine Hill, Roselawn, you know, those communities, you don't really see, to my knowledge, any breweries. And I don't, maybe the market isn't there, but I don't know. Maybe it's zoning.
That might be a spot to open up one.
Yeah.
I think marketing does have a lot to do with it. And I don't want to step on our beer reviews, but just a real quick story this past Friday, you know, I had the group chat said I went to Mad Tree. I mean, humongous space. And obviously Mad Tree is distributed I know at least all the way down to Tennessee where I am. And it was packed. And this is like at 3:30 on a Friday. And Mad Tree it's okay to me. I mean, they got some good beer, but then I took it over to Street Side, which has phenomenal brew. And it's a totally different vibe and totally different crowd. Like it was probably 10 people inside of Street Side. But I know, in my opinion, Street Side has a far superior product to Mad Tree. But Street Side probably doesn't have the marketing dollars and we know they don't have the distribution that Mad Tree has.
Right.
Yep. And I mean, like I was saying, they got a good location. Like who else is really messing with them in that spot? And then, I mean, they're building in that spot. I think Street Side's expanding too. So.
Are there any African? Do y'all know if there's any like known African American collab that do brew? I mean, I just don't know. Honestly, I don't.
In y'all area, Cincinnati.
I want to say there's two.
Brewing,
Cincy Brewing, and I feel like there's one more, but I can't remember the name.
Is it Esoteric?
Oh yeah, Esoteric, minority owned Esoteric.
Okay.
In Walnut Hills.
Okay.
It's like two in Dayton.
Yeah, but before we get too far off the rails, man, Doug, what you got, brother?
Doug, what you got, man?
Oh. Well, look,
Ches.
You know, I'm a educator by profession, man. So I'm doing it in, man. I'm gonna drink this first, right? This was good. This was the Tabs United Dairy Farmer Milkshake IPA.
Oh yeah.
And I think Blast, you reviewed that a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't on the pod. I'm not sure what you gave it, but I'm getting everything, man. I'm getting everything that it says it's supposed to do, which is a milkshake IPA. And what you're saying, what I'm looking at is this nice little can here, and it makes you think of maybe strawberry. So I guess
I was going to ask you, did you buy the box?
No, he was able to give me one single.
Okay, I've seen the box, and maybe it's a whole different one, but it says strawberry milkshake IPA, and that's the one that I thought I was getting. I didn't really notice the strawberry, which wasn't a huge deal, but I'm just like, are there more than one, or is it just the one?
Well, if you was at the Honey Hole, did you get it from the Honey Hole?
Yeah.
Right. I think that was the strawberry.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. But what I'm gonna review is a porter.
Hold on. Hey man,
I tricked you.
Did the all-time pump fake.
Yeah, what did you give the strawberry joint?
I mean, you've already reviewed it. I was just sipping to get ready, man.
Well, I want to hear what you thought of it.
Appetizer.
Right, man. It's not trash.
Yeah, for sure, it's not
it's
trash.
Well over 3, and it's mid 4.5.
All right, yeah. It was. I thought it was legit.
This is a porter.
Right.
Dark brew.
Porter. That's a tap porter.
Yeah, tap porter.
I'll be scared of porters too, man.
Wow.
I used to love porters until I started drinking stouts, and I'm just like, damn, the porter don't hit like it used to hit.
They're empty, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. This says stay classy.
Yeah, nice can work.
I also like wine from a distance.
It's empty, ain't it?
Oh, he's disappointed. He's disappointed.
Man, look at that face.
Now, when you said empty, I mean that's what I got. It's like a water.
It'd be flat, man. Yeah.
It's flat. It's like a flat beer. No, I'm not feeling it. I'm a drink
it ain't got no kick to it. It ain't got no feeling behind it. It's just like a murky looking water.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's my review.
You have to grade it. You got to grade it.
What you giving on the grade?
Hey, man, I'm not giving this a 3.
Oh, I thought you said you wasn't going to grade it. I'm like, damn.
No, I'm going to grade it. This is like 2.25, man.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Is
That's even lower than mine. Damn.
I don't know if it's my fault. Like, I don't know if my palate just
he said it's lower than mine.
That's lower than my homemade brew. Damn.
Hey,
They got a whole company and shit.
Hey, this is like, yeah. Give me some Ross Lager over this shit, man.
Oh my God, that's hysterical, man.
2.25. That is a 50%, folks.
Man, but you know what? I mean, is it my ignorance? Is this what a porter is supposed to taste like? And people who like porters enjoy this?
You know what?
To me,
porter I've had, they all taste the same. No matter what porter I've had, they all taste empty.
They just don't hit the notes.
Ain't stay classy, man. Stay trashy up in there.
Oh, man.
I thought you were going to say something else, but. All right, man. I'm
shoot it over to E. I see you rocking our partners, the drought season shirt.
Represent drought season, man. Y'all follow them on Instagram, man. You know what I'm saying?
Out.
Hey, I'm drinking this and this can art is 100% while I bought this, man. You know, so it looked like a Red Bull can, you know what I'm saying? But so this is it's called Mixing with Barrel Theory Imperial Sour. And it's passion fruit, orange, spices, pomegranate, calamansi, lime, and almond, which is a weird note to put with a sour. And it's by Humble Forager, and they're out of, which I think might be the greatest brewing city in the country, Wanakee, Wisconsin. Everything that come out of there is like fire. That's, Untitled Art, Octopi, I believe a couple others that we've reviewed are all around that area. This joint's actually checking in at 10%, man. And I actually didn't realize that until just now when I looked at it. And they're out of, I'm sorry, did I say Wanakee?
Yeah, you said Wanakee.
Yeah. Wanakee, Wisconsin.
10% is already affecting you.
Yeah. So 10%, similar to like a normal IPA, not a hazy. So it's a golden, I mean, for lack of better words, piss color.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just saying, man.
Man, what's in the name of Arkell?
Yeah, man. You drink some more water, man. If your piss look like that, man, drink some water.
But man, this is damn good, man. I know Dub don't like sours, but this one ain't hit you that spot back there, man. Like it's like the first sip when I first drank it when it was kind of cold, but now that it's kind of like warmed up a little bit, which you would think a sour that warms up wouldn't be great, but you're actually getting more of the notes as it's been a little bit warmer. I'm gonna get this joint a 4.5, man. Like I said, it's hitting everything.
If I didn't know that was a sour, it would look like a hazy IPA.
Yeah, it's hitting everything, man. The orange, the passion fruit, you get a little spice. You get that zing. That sour is coming from that zing from the lime, which ain't too hateful. I'm not getting almond, which I honestly didn't expect to get almond, so I don't even know if that was a necessary ingredient.
You don't need that. You don't need that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't even know if it was a necessary ingredient, but yeah, I like this joint, man. Once again, we got Humble Forager. They're out of Wanakee, Wisconsin, and this is called Mixing with Barrel Theory Imperial Sour.
You caught that around these parts here, or are you back in Tennessee?
I actually got this in Bellevue at that Ameristop that has the nice beer selection.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
How much was it? How much was it?
I want to say maybe $5-6. I don't know. I bought a couple things and just took them up. I didn't really look at the price.
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. I stumbled upon some Goose Island, man.
Did you cop?
I didn't. I haven't copped, but I'm talking variants. I'm talking shit from 2019.
What?
Oh, word?
I'm talking blue canister.
Why didn't you say something earlier?
I'm letting y'all know now, man. That this shit is real low key, bro. I'm talking.
Well, don't say it on here.
All right.
Yeah, don't say it on here.
Yeah. Well, y'all get at me, man. Y'all get at me.
Yeah, we keep that on the group chat, man. Yeah.
You act like you got them in the trunk, man. Like,
Nah, I mean, I just know it's safe, man, because nobody's thinking to look here, and I mean the amount of them that was there, I'm just like, damn, they sitting on this gold mine, and nobody who comes in here even probably looks at this shit.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, you gotta hit the group chat with that one.
go ahead and put it out, man.
Nah, we're not putting it on here, man.
Hey, man.
No way.
We got that many listeners anyway, man. Let them have it.
Oh damn.
I mean, they probably had two of each. They definitely had two blue canisters.
I still got the group blue canister too. In my storage, I can pull it out if y'all want to drink it anytime soon.
Hold on. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna give me another beer.
Yeah,
okay.
Hey, man,
yeah.
So the spicy note in your last beer, man. I've never had spicy. Yours.
Yeah, I saw you said spices on your beer.
Yeah, it's not really spicy. It's like a heat, like it's hot or anything like that. It's just, you can tell that it got
some coriander up in there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Like coriander, cumin, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Like, it's not like heat. It's not, I'm not getting like red pepper or chili or anything like that. It's more, yeah.
Sucker in there.
It's good though, man. I would definitely go back and cop this joint again.
Sucker was on your ass, man. He the whole trip.
Man,
I need my money back from this trash, man.
Get a refund, man.
Tab,
Give me some money back.
Right.
You should pay me to drink this.
Hey, once again, we wanna welcome our guest, you know what I'm saying, Attorney Ross Wright, to the Hops and Stocks podcast, man. You briefly introduced yourself earlier. You touched on, you're saying, some of your interests, some of your background. So we want to give you an opportunity to, expand now. This is the portion of our show where we, we hop into, the conversation with our guests.
There's so much to talk about, man. I know Doug had talked. One of the interests I had, was cryptocurrency. So I got into crypto primarily because, there's a little bit, I think, of a rebel in me. And it's the idea of doing something. I think politically speaking, I'm independent. And so I don't really like to be sort of programmed in any particular way. And when the idea of crypto first emerged, I was like, hold on, so you got something that can be transacted at an individual to individual level on a platform that has something called a blockchain, which essentially is probably the most immutable, incorruptible accounting systems, because the way the blocks work in terms of a transaction, if I decide to send Doug some crypto right now from my Coinbase or Robinhood, and then I keep some in what is called there's a wallet. I have something called I have a Tracer wallet, so you can actually keep some there. You got to remember a lot of passcodes, and you got to make sure you keep hold of your wallet, because if you lose that device, then shit, you lost your money. Most of my crypto is always, I started in Coinbase, but the thing that fascinated me was man, I could send something to Doug, or I could send. I tell you one of the things I did. So I started doing auto deposits of crypto. And I think the cost basis back in 2014, 2015 was in the hundreds of dollars. And I got into it. I started reading about it. Man, this is some fascinating shit. The fact that you'd be able to transact outside of the Federal Reserve System. Right. Essentially, you would be able to do transactions and nobody can really see it. It's between you and that person. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to set up my checking account to actually just start making auto deposits or auto purchases of crypto through Coinbase. They had a function, and I just set it up. And honestly, I got interested in it, and I just didn't even mess with it. I knew that the auto deposits were happening all throughout 2015, some of 2016. And then one day, I read another story. It was kind of an update, this thing is growing. And I logged into my account. And I was like, oh, shit. This is what, because it just exploded. Another experiment. So I got into Bitcoin first. And then I told my sons now are 27, but I said, hey man, let's do some Ethereum. What the hell? Ethereum, I'm not shitting you. And I actually have the transaction record for this. At the time we bought it, I think it was in December of maybe 2014 or 15.
Wow.
One Ethereum was about $6 and something for one. So I'm telling you, so I told my boys, I said, this is for, I had already done the Bitcoin. So I said, this is purely for shits and giggles. I said, how about I put up $30 and you guys put up 10 a piece and we're going to spend $50. And I could literally show you the screenshot from Coinbase when we made this purchase. And so we got, I don't know, 6+ Ethereums for like $50. Fast forward to like June of that next year, like an Ethereum was now approaching like, close to $1,000. And so you log into the account like, man. And so we just started. And so I've never really taken anything out. I've always just, because I believe in sort of the long-term runway of cryptocurrency. I'm not like a guy that's like necessarily trying to go, in and out. I'm going to get rich quick. I kind of am a true believer in the actual platform itself. So I don't really get too, part of the reason why I don't get worked up like when crypto drops now is because my cost basis is so super, super low that really no matter how low it would drop now, it's not even close to like what I was buying it at when I started. Now, what I will do, like, so when it dipped low like it is now, I'll go back in on the dip and I'll do more, deposits. I'll just do more transactions. I was like, if this is a higher cost basis, but it's dipping, and I believe that long term, it's got a potential to just essentially revolutionize and disrupt finance. So I got into that. I got, so now I got Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic. I bought Dogecoin, like when Dogecoin still hasn't taken off, but it was, in some of my perspective, is like, well, shit, like with Dogecoin, it was like, I bought that it was like trading one day, like, I don't know, a year ago, it was like 3 cents. Like, so shit, I'll buy 700 of those. What's it going to cost me? Like $30. And then it's like, if it completely goes to shit, I only lost $30. Yeah. But if it goes up to 7 cents, 10 cents, and then God forbid it really takes off, shit, I'll be doing this podcast. I'll be out of work in Belize. Right. And that's, you know what I'm saying?
That's what we all thought. That's what we all
think. So I just, I'm kind of an early adopter, get into that kind of stuff. And so I've got my sons into it. And just for people to it can be complex to sort of explain to people. And then one of the big critics was always like, man, you're into crypto. That's not backed by anything. And I'd be like, neither is the United States dollar because It isn't. The US dollar isn't backed by anything. So when people come up with like the anti-crypto arguments, and one of them is, well, you can lose everything. It's not backed up by anything. You open up your dollar, it's a Federal Reserve note. What's a note? A note is not an asset. It actually is when you use the term note, it's actually a borrowing currency. And so it's through the Federal Reserve System, but the dollars that we have, they are not inherently worth anything. In fact, President Nixon took the United States off the gold standard in the early 1970s. There used to be a time that the dollar was pegged to a hard asset, like silver or gold. So you could take a dollar into a place and you could actually get literally real silver or gold because it was pegged to that. At the Bretton Woods conference and President Nixon, they said, you know what? We're gonna do some sort of 3-card Molly with the financial system. And they took, you can look this up, they took the United States off of the dollar. So the dollar is just if you really get down to it, it's the faith and confidence that all of us on this call have that it's worth something, and it's backed by the gross domestic product of the United States. But is it tied to something like gold that would actually have it? Nope, it isn't. So when people come up, well, man, you got into that and it's not backed by anything, well, shit, the dollar isn't, is it? Now, of course, with Bitcoin, there's wider fluctuations in it because it's still like an emerging way to do financial transactions. And I'll give you one other thing.
And it's international.
It is that. So let me give you this story, Doug, and you guys. So I had the Bitcoin, and I do a fair amount of day trading when I can in what I call the regular stock, options, calls, butterfly calls, blah blah blah, 401k, you name it. And so I had this money, I had this money sitting in crypto, and I was like, shit, it's just sitting there, and that's cool, and it's appreciating. But I was like, is there a way that I could actually lend my Bitcoin to somebody? Lo and behold, there was a German company that actually had a platform called BitBond. And they actually had it where people all over the world, investors, could take their Bitcoin and essentially lend or invest their Bitcoin into a business. So people, and so I picked the business, me and 20 other people I didn't even know in the world. And there was a business in the Netherlands. And this business in the Bitbond, you could, let's say one of us wanted to do a business. And this is what was interesting to me. There are over 2 billion people on earth that do not have access to regular banking. Like, we just think, well, shit, you go down the street, there's Fifth Third, there's PNC. In a lot of countries on earth, there ain't no damn bank to go to. And if there is, you think the interest rates is bad with what the Federal Reserve is about to do now, you go to some of the international places and see about getting a loan from a bank. It is brutal. So if you're
cash advance interest rate.
It's like slavery. So there are businesses so a business, this was, I forgot, it was a retail business. It was in the Netherlands. And they essentially put their stuff out on this platform. Hey, my name is XYZ Inc. We're doing this. And they would put essentially like their financials, and it would be vetted by the platform. And they would say, we need $5,000 or $10,000 to do X. We're looking for investors. And so people like me that's on the other side you got this cryptocurrency sitting there, like, well, what can I do with the crypto to actually let it grow in and of itself and then lend this out or invest it and then get a return off of that? So this person was willing to pay 24% return on the investment. Wow. So and what you did was you go in, if you want to play the game, you hit a button. So I put up my money, and then a whole bunch of other dudes or men and women I didn't know, they put up their money. The investment got funded to this entity. And then every month, this entity would essentially have to pay a lump sum back to the platform, and it was called Bitbond. And then that would essentially be distributed out almost like a dividend to each one of us investors. And I was like, shit, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to go ahead and put my money in this. It's not like I'm like, hey, I'm going to take you to small claims court. Like, well, you're in the Netherlands. What the hell are you going to do?
But you're playing with your Bitcoin off of your gain. So you wasn't losing any money.
No, absolutely not.
All your gains that you were investing.
I was retaining that, and I was just allowing somebody to, so I retained that completely. And so what I ended up doing was me and these other folks, they put their crypto up. This person, as it turned out, it worked out. It was a 12-month repayment thing. And the good part about it is, like, I didn't have to do any of the vetting of the businesses. The company, it was a German-based company. And this was the crazy thing. I thought this was like I was in some kind of sci-fi movie, Doug. Because when I signed up to be an investor, it was like, it's not like, hey, you put your name, your email, maybe some other stuff. These people were so thorough from Germany. I did like almost like a meeting like this with like a person that looked like they was from out of the Matrix. And they were asking me questions. And one of the things they had me to do on the call to make sure that I had not altered my face. I am not shitting you. I'm not shitting you. You had to, do something with your passport through these secure sites. But then they wanted to make sure that shit was me. So the person on the call, never forget this. I'm on my iPad, like, okay, let me call in this crazy ass interview and see what else would these people want from me. At one point, the lady said, "Turn to the side." So I'm doing like this. I had to do like one of these. She's looking at me, and I was like, "What was that all about?" And they were like, "We have to make sure that, like, I'm not like you don't have a mask or something on, so you look like this. But then over here, you like another person, you're a woman or what?" I said, I'm in my mind. I said, "This is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life." I'm about
to. They thought you was catfishing them, man.
I was like, man, I said, I'm about to get dudes coming down in parachutes. I'm probably, at that point, I said, you know what? I may have really fucked up. I said, I may have gotten a little bit too innovative and adventurous with trying to do this. But I said, you know what? I got that adventurous spirit. I'm gonna just roll with it. So I rolled with it, went through, signed up, the money was there, the other people was there. I to this day never met the person from the Netherlands, never met any of the other investors. But the cool thing about it, going back to sort of the independence thing, is that here you got a person over in a foreign country, and believe me, there were Spain, Germany, there are people all over the world trying to get essentially peer-to-peer financing without going to a bank, because some of them ain't got a damn bank to go to. And if they go to the bank, the interest rate is ridiculous. So we gave up, you give up this money, and then it turned out, and my return was, on my investment was like 24.06% from what I had lent, and then that was what the person was at. So they did well with what they were doing. So I was like, man, that's a revolutionary way to do finance, because essentially we completely kind of bypassed the traditional financing system. Yeah. And this German company set up this platform. So I got into it, and to this day, man, I'm still into that. I mean, and then separately, just because of kind of a little bit, kind of a little bit odd, I've always purchased, like, I have like real silver, not like this is silver, but I'm talking about like actual silver.
Bars.
Yeah, bars. I have bars. I've always bought bars. I have some gold, some silver. I got some palladium, with the reasoning being like, look, because when I would say things like, man, the system is fragile. So this is before the pandemic. People, family and people are like, yeah, he probably been drinking some hops, maybe drank some homemade beer again. They talking crazy. And I got a cabin out in Adams County, and the cabin is off the grid, and I rent, I have batteries and solar.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I got some questions about that.
But so anyway, I did that, and so it was like, so I do the silver thing too, just in case, because silver is good, because if it came down to needing to transact in sort of a completely disrupted system, it has inherent value. Like, you can actually, people worldwide, you go into the silver market, it actually has a legitimate inherent value as silver, as opposed to just, if I have a bunch of dollars, it just depends on who I'm rolling with. It's like, you take dollars. Hell no, I won't take dollars. Did you know the Federal Reserve System collapsed? Hey, I got a silver bar, and I intentionally got all of my precious stuff in smaller denominations, because if you think about having to do business, hey, I want to get that hops that you got back there. I want to get that beer. Well, shit, I ain't gonna give you my whole damn silver bar to get a can of beer that's worth like $5. So I do it that way. So yeah, man, that solar, EVs, I just have a survivalism, if you will.
It's funny, man. It's funny when you talk about all those things that the Germans made you do. I was trying to get this brother hooked up onto some, I think, Coinbase.
Yeah.
And when I signed into Coinbase, initially, they didn't ask for all these things I guess they're asking for now.
Man, they got all kinds of stuff.
So they was asking B-Dub for his driver's license. he kept texting back like, man, why are they asking me for my driver's license?
It's crazy.
I be annoyed. They was like, send me your ID. I'm like, yeah, man, that turned me off.
Too much. Yeah, it's too much. It is a risk. It is a risk,
Hey, man, I'm gonna tell you what I use. I use my Kansas gun permit because I didn't want to use my driver's license.
As long as you can see, and what was interesting with the Germans, since it was international with Bitbon, I actually had to it had to be like it was proof of the passport, so I couldn't even use it. But it was. I had never been through, and I thought I had been vetted before. That's it, because I already had a Coinbase account. And I was like, well, okay, can't be no worse than that. It was crazy. It was like, I was like, these people are going to come and kill me, take my money. Nobody's going to know about it. Shit.
Hey, Ross, talk to us about the Adams County property, man.
So I got into. I got into, and so when I was in jiu-jitsu, there was a lot of guys that I knew that were like amateur hunters. And so we'd had these conversations in between rounds and the mats, and like, hey man, you think about just your living. It's like, you got to eat, you got to have water, you got to have these things. So it's like, you should go out and go hunting with us. I'm like, man, I get my meat from Kroger. You know what I mean? Going to that. I'm not going out there. So I was interested in my transformation. It was like, I'm like, the person that was me, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago is not the same person. Because that person was like, I ain't no damn way I'm sitting up in a tree when it's cold with a bow and arrow or, gun or whatever you got, crossbow, for 12 hours waiting on a deer to show up. But as I got into it with them and they started explaining it to me, I was like, this probably does have some value. And then once I started appreciating something at a higher level, then I really try to put my energy around, I need to actually kind of make this real. And then, when you look at some of the visionary teachers, whether or not you agree with all their teachings, you look at somebody like Elijah Muhammad, and it's like, hey, you know what? You need to buy some land and you need to have the capacity to be able to feed yourself. What happens when Kroger's is closed? Where you gonna go?
Yeah.
I remember one time I was in college, because I was an activist in college. And I remember we were having a revolutionary.
You and Joe Reed?
Me and Joe Reed.
Right.
We were having a revolutionary meeting. We was about to do some real revolutionary stuff at UC. I'm not kidding, we were at this brother's house, and there was a thunderstorm came through. It knocked out his power, and so our meeting was disrupted. Don't you know, this mom didn't even have a flashlight? I'm like, damn, hold on, man. We in here planning a revolution in your little
But no flashlight.
Damn flashlight? Are you kidding me?
The revolution shall not be televised.
I was like, so let me say, let's say we laid the best plans ever. We're gonna get the African Culture Center, whatever the hell we're gonna do. And then they just go down to the power box and hey, your whole thing is shut down. Right. We just shut you down. Right. One dude gets up on the pole and shut your shit down. And it's like, good luck with your revolution, bro. I mean, you don't even have electricity. You don't even have electricity. And if you really mess with it, we're gonna hit the water next. So then what you gonna do?
Yeah, you can't flush the toilet. You can't flush the toilet.
Between those little minor experiences, and then I had an uncle that sort of thought, and his name was Bob Wright. He was actually a nuke dog, and I had long conversations. He was kind of like a father figure. I mean, we had these long conversations about all kinds of stuff, and he made me think about stuff like that. He was like, I know you think you're gonna do this, but he'd be asking questions. Well, what if this happens? And what if that happened? And I had no answers. Like, you make a good point. I don't know. So as a result of that and the experiences with honey, I said, I'm going to buy some land. So as it turned out, there was a dude who was a hunter. He died, and his wife inherited the property, and she didn't want to mess with it. So it was a good situation for me, and it was before all this real estate stuff took off. She sold 5 acres of land with a cabin on it, with all the utilities and stuff tied in. And it was less than $30,000 to buy like all of it. So wow. And I had saved enough, and I was like, so I paid. I said, look, how about if I give you cash money? Would you just take the cash and give it to me for this, and we're done? So we worked a deal. They were the person I dealt with, the realtor out there, rural area. I've had some really good dealings. Some part of my family is from rural Missouri. But I had excellent dealings with the folks I dealt with out in Adams County in terms of just person to person. Now, are they going to be on, having beers with us and doing all? No, it ain't going to be like that. But in terms of just transactionally, and quite frankly, I'm not the kind of person that's even trying to be up in another person's space like that. I'm like, hey, you know what? I respect you. You respect me. I'm cool. So I bought this land.
Stay in your own cabin. Stay in your own cabin.
Yeah. So I bought this land, the cabin. We did some renovations. I got real cool with the Amish, learned a whole lot of stuff from Amish people. Oh. And then I have grid-tied solar at my house. So this time, honestly, and I can show you, I actually have negative bills from Duke Energy. I generate more electricity from the grid myself than Duke Energy gives to me. Like right now, it's like my golden season because it's like the summer solstice. So the sun is kicking ass on my solar panels, and so I'm cranking so much electricity that I produce extra electricity than what I use from Duke. And so Duke, as long as you go through their process, they'll let you do it. They come out and they have people inspect the equipment, like, hey, we want to make sure this Negro is not going to blow up the grid or something with what he's doing. So they approve it. And so every month, like I get a net meter, like I have a net meter. So it incorporates what I'm pushing to the grid from my electricity that I'm producing on site. And then it measures like whatever I need to take in. And if I'm creating more electricity than I need from them, then they pay me. And so on my bill, sometimes it'd be like, I get a bill and it'd be like minus $12 because they owe me money. In fact, the first time it happened after I got it installed, I couldn't resist because I grew up, poor. And I remember my mother having, phone cut off, Duke Energy harassment. I called them up. Hey, this is Boss Rap, just checking in. And they were like, well, Mr. Wright, we'd like to transfer you to the bill installment plan. I said, actually, I'm calling because you owe me money. I said, but I tell you what, I'm a fair man and I can agree to reasonable terms. I'm going to let this go until next month and we'll see what the sun does. And the way it's looking, I'm probably going to be, Y'all can probably owe me more money next month. But it's cool. I'm cool with it. I'm not the kind of person that's going to disconnect you. And it was funny as hell. Because the person that the call rep, I mean, what the hell you do with that? You got some Negro calling you up on the phone talking to a black person. And they were like, what the hell? So it was crazy. But so this is another story. And if you don't mind, so I bought the cabin. I tried to do out so the cabin folks, they don't use Duke. They use the thing called a cooperative. And so they got different rules on electricity. But I called them up because I'm that kind of person. Hey, I got to deal with Duke. I'm wondering, can I tie some solar panels to y'all thing? They wanted to hit me up with all kinds of fees and bull crap. And then they didn't want to give me any extra. So I'm like, if I created extra energy, which I definitely would out there because I'm not out there that much, they were like, we ain't paying you for no extra electricity that you generate out here. We just going to put that in our pocket. I was like, oh, hell no. So what I did was I called them up. I said, guess what? Come and disconnect all your shit from, I didn't say shit. I was, but in my mind, that was what I was saying. I said, come in, you can turn me off completely. They was like, well, you're not going to have electricity? Not from you. And I said, and so I bought my own batteries because I had learned enough about, solar and connecting things. So I have a shed and I have all these batteries in there. They're all connected. They're all connected to an inverter, two inverters. And then they're connected to the cabin. So for over 2 years, I said, I don't need your electricity. For over 2 years, we would go out to the cabin. I completely off the grid. I didn't use any electricity. So here's the funny part, Doug, and I'm going to share this. This is a letter that I got after doing this for a while. They got salty with me. Can y'all see this?
Yeah.
So this is a letter I got from them last year. This is what it says. Inactive electric service. This is the funny part. In accordance with policy 514, the electric service mentioned above is scheduled to be removed from the date. Our records indicated that the service has been inactive for more than 24 months. So they was like, so this is the kind of game they decided they played with me. They said, what we're going to do with this person, because he's a unique person, is we're going to come up with this policy and we're going to go out and actually just try to take the transformers down. Like, it wasn't about me not connecting to their grid. They were so salty. They said, we're going to take the actual infrastructure down around your cabin. So if you want to roll like that, so they said, like, I'm just living my best life. And I get this letter from them. And what they're basically saying is our records indicated that service has been inactive for more than 24%. So I called them up and I was like, yeah, it has been active. I tried to work something out with y'all, but y'all didn't want to give me none of the money. So I just didn't, I'm not using y'all at all. It's God and the universe and the sun and these batteries and my inverter. I'm running everything for cool. So, what else do you want from me? So it's interesting that the power company out there was essentially trying to force me onto the grid because I was able to independently run all of my electricity without them. So it was crazy, man. So as you can imagine, I have some entertaining, it's crazy. Some of the stuff, and that's why I showed the letter, because some of the stuff, somebody tell you, it's like, man, this man is making this crap up.
They had to create a policy just for you.
Yeah, because it was like, I wasn't bothering them. I mean, so the people were fine. But the electric company looked at the records. I'm like, people like, damn, we ain't got no checks from this dude. We ain't getting no money from him for 22 years. What is he doing? Running my own electric. I have my own electricity utility on site, and I just put deep cycle golf cart batteries. I had chained up like about 30 of them, so they had a shit ton of stored electricity. So when we go out there, all I had to do is flip on the inverter, and you have to have a charge controller when you're doing this, because if you don't, then you'll overcharge your batteries and blow shit up. So the charge controller essentially cuts off the solar charging from happening once the batteries are topped out. So I can't be out there, so I have to have an automatic way. So and it's not that expensive. So you have solar panels, a charge controller, and inverter, because the inverter essentially is taking the direct current from the batteries and then just transforming it into what we use in like AC current. The same way, we all got an inverter. So when you look up and you see a transformer on your telephone pole, that essentially is a point of conversion of electricity from the utility company. Them high voltage lines, that shit's coming direct. And we can't use, at a household level, you can't use direct electric current. It's too much power. So when it hits those transformers in neighborhoods, it flips it and makes it accelerating current, which then gets routed directly to our households, which we could use that. So think of a transformer, but the transformer in my case for off-grid solar was actually what is called an inverter. So it's essentially doing the same thing. It's taking all that direct current from all them batteries, runs it through the inverter. The inverter converts the electricity into usable current, which then that was what was being routed to the cabinet. So we was running the lights, the microwave. I mean, you would never have known. If I didn't tell you that this was off the grid, you would have just came to the cabin and just be watching TV or just whatever you're doing, and you'd have never known that the source of the electricity was actually in a shed with all the batteries. And of course, I would, that was cool with me, but Adam, the electric cooperative, and I called them up. I was like, hey, why don't y'all just agree to give me some money for the extra solar panels I'm trying? Why y'all got, I came at y'all as a brother. I came at you as a brother. All you had to do is agree to do what Duke Energy is already doing, which is if I'm producing excess electricity, you don't even have to pay me the rate that you charge other people for electricity, because Duke don't pay me the rate that they're charging other people to resell it. And I'm cool with that. But shit, you ain't getting it for free. You got to pay me something per kilowatt. And it was crazy. And the guy I said, what is this policy? In my mind, I was like, this policy sounds like bullshit. Policy 514, when did y'all make that up? Last night?
Right.
That don't even sound right. It ain't tied to the Ohio Revised Code or what the hell did you come up with this from?
They might as well call it the Wright policy.
Oh man, it was absolutely hysterical.
So
but,
what kind of so my family has upwards of 600 plus acres of land down in middle of nowhere, Alabama.
So awesome. So awesome, man.
And I want to put, I would love to do something like that. Like, what does that look like from an investment standpoint where you feel like, okay,
you and me can connect. I have so much passion around this that I would, because I am all about, as much as any knowledge I have, I want to pass it on. And so I could definitely, so let's just say that you just wanted to start relatively small and just run you figure out, the first thing you have to figure out is the math around what it is you're trying to run. So if you're just trying to run like lights, a fan, maybe a small refrigerator or something like that, then your needs are not that significant. So that would actually be a pretty easy thing to solution, because your demand of the electricity isn't that great. So let's just, to make it easy, let's just say, hey, I'm just want to do lights, fans, and just charge my computer or whatever. All you would have to, so you can go two ways. They actually have the more advanced lithium ion batteries, which are pretty expensive. It's the same sort of batteries that get run in the cars, in the EV.
Tesla, yeah.
But if you just want to do it, because I did mine more inexpensively, you could go to any legit battery store. And the way most people do it is they get what are called deep cycle 6-volt, 240 amp batteries. And essentially what you do is you chain, they're 6 volts. So there's a way to connect them through cables to get them up to 12 volt. So you connect the positive and negative from one battery to that. And then that 6-volt battery essentially gets elevated and becomes a 12-volt battery, because in order for the actual inverter to use it, most of the inverters are going to run off of a 12-volt system. So the batteries you can get for, you can buy the batteries for less than, you can get, so let's say $200. So one battery might be $200. So let's say you wanted to get 6 batteries times $200. You're looking at $1,200 for the actual batteries, which is going to be storing your stuff. You get maybe a couple of solar panels, maybe a couple 200-watt solar panels. You can get those for a couple $100 each. So let's just call that even $600. You get an inverter. You get a good inverter that makes sure it, processes the energy. That might be, another $400 or $500. And then you get a charge controller, which is the least expensive of everything, but it's probably one of the most important, because the charge controller is exactly what it says. It makes sure that once them batteries get full, or if they're at a low point, it's regulating what the hell is going on with them. and then make sure that the solar panels that are providing the charge or releasing the energy kind of stay in some form of balance. So let's call it maybe a little over $2,000 to do that. And then you look at how much money, at least I did, like, because obviously Adams County is pissed because I did my investment in my batteries, and over 2-year period, it paid for itself because I ain't paying for no bill. Like, I'm not paying for any electricity. So whatever I would be paying them per month, I ain't paying y'all shit. In fact, if you look at some of the, if you ever have a chance to just look at your utility bill, what's interesting about a utility bill is that a fair amount of it actually has nothing to do with the actual electricity or gas itself. One of the bigger charges, itemized charges on the bill, is the actual, like what they call essentially the servicing charge to get it from them to you. So like, so even if you turn your gas and electric off down to like, hey, we ain't running shit. We on a budget. Inflation is bad. We ain't doing nothing. Guess what? You would still get a relatively decent bill. It wouldn't be super high because those distribution charges that they charge, they always charge you. So if you put to start out just a couple grand, that would be enough to run other stuff. And then once you do that, it's just, you just scale the shit up. In fact, companies like, I know Tesla had mentioned a power wall. So instead of doing it sort of the poor man's way, which is the way I did it, for the reasons of cost, and also there was a part of me, I just wanted to understand how to do it because I connected all this shit myself. All this stuff I actually have done like personally myself. And I actually have a battery bank at our house.
And Ross used to have hair. He used to have hair.
I used to have hair, man.
That's what after doing all this, I think he got burned.
I got shocked out, man. I got shocked out. Shit. But anyway, brother Eric, I would actually, if we want to at some point really take this offline and get granular, I could do some FaceTime sharing. I can, when I'm out at the cabin, we could connect. I can kind of show you that. I can show you stuff here because I am really big on. And you think about what happened in Texas. You think about these weather events.
Yeah.
You lose power. It's like, well, what? Because like if the power goes out, even at our house, like I have enough off-grid capacity to run all of our essential stuff because I have a set of solar panels that are not connected to the grid that are just connected to those batteries. So if everything shuts down, I have a way to run everything in the house off of the batteries. And people, at that point, that's when you got to make sure you got your self-defense things. And people be looking like, damn, well, everybody else has lights off. They over there eating good. You know what I mean? Let's see what they doing. So anyway. Yeah, man, so
it's, keeping all their steaks cold.
And they got their steaks cold. They drinking beer. They got hops. He making beer. How the hell is he making beer without no electricity? Shit.
Hey, that's when you gotta get the.
Hey, you gotta have self-defense.
You need that out in Adams County too.
I have a carry conceal license, and I've had it since it started in Ohio. And I think I go. What's interesting is that you don't actually have to have the license anymore because of. But if you're going to another state,
you gotta want to have it.
You want to have it. So I'm definitely. So actually my appointment is to go and do the process and pay the $50 or whatever is next. I think it's next Tuesday. But yeah, I'm equally big on like, hey, I respect you, you respect me, but I do know the law, and it's not gonna go down like that. It's not gonna go down like that. No, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. Sorry. This 45 says I am not the one. I'm sorry. 45, a Kimber 380. 6-hour 9mm, pump action shotgun, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, you name it, AR-15. I mean, of course, I'm not like some kind of. I mean, in the environment that we in, somebody says that, oh my God, he's kind of a crazy gun person, and I'm not that person. I'm a peaceful person, completely peaceful, but you have to be prepared for contingencies. And I always, like Malcolm X said, I mean, hey, I obey the law. I'm not going to do anything that's illegal. But I am going to obey the law, and I'm going to defend myself. That's just the way it's going to go now. So you're right. You're right, Brother Diggs. You're absolutely right.
Oh, I don't know if anybody had anything else.
Nah, I think we got to get Ross back on, man. We ain't even
I was going to say
on like his book or none of that, man. I think we're going to have
Part two.
Yeah,
And I love to be. I mean, this energy is awesome, and the sharing, and obviously there are things that you guys can share with me to augment. And this is just an exchange of information. But I am really big on all of this stuff and trying to. I mean, we have I have gardens at the cabin. I got gardens at the house. I mean, I grow tomatoes. I grow lettuce. I grow kale. People think I'm crazy. I got chickens, hens. I do.
Yeah.
People like, hey, you want to make an omelet? I'd be like, hold on for a minute. I'll be right back.
Right.
Family member come over like, hey, what we gonna make for breakfast? Hold on, I'm gonna go back. I'll go get some eggs out of the thing. And hey, let's go. They were like, where them eggs? It's like it's voodoo. Where the hell them eggs come from? Those chickens back there, like the same ones that Kroger's get. It's the same shit. It's the same shit.
Right.
One thing
It's just in my backyard.
I want you to speak on. We talked briefly about how Hops and Stocks is all about talking about wealth, generational wealth building. But you made a point that wealth is nothing without health. So if you want to kind of elaborate,
just real quick. I mean, just for me, man, it's like I don't know if y'all's had the experience. Just real quick, but I'll tell you, 4 brothers that I went to high school with in the last 5 months who just passed away. And I don't know all their circumstances. I don't know their health situations, but they were young. So, and I don't know if it was sudden or whatever, but the bottom line is that even with all of what we talked about, it's like, if we don't, my sons and I, we schedule our physical exam around the same time every year to hold each other accountable. And we even signed the medical forms where we could cross share. So I can't bullshit them about what my cholesterol or whatever. And then they can call me out like, hey, Dad, you're looking a little high right here with your blood pressure or whatever. And it's just, at the end of the day, if we don't make sure that we are trying to do all we can to take care of ourselves and keep ourselves here by the foods we eat, get a little exercise in, and hell, even mental health. I wake up every morning and the first thing I do, I get some lemon, water, and, get my system going. But then after that, brush my teeth. And then after that, I found this YouTube meditation thing. And it sounds a little almost like Zen, like Buddhist monk or something. But it's this real chill meditation. It's only 10 minutes, but it gets me grounded for the whole day. And it gets me gets my heart rate and my mind ready. And then on top of that, just trying to incorporate as much, healthy eating and the little exercise and just trying to, sort of mix all that together with everything else. Cryptocurrency, hey, have a couple of beers, do all that kind of stuff. Because I don't believe in sort of some kind of a lifestyle where you're not enjoying your life. You got to be able to balance it out. It's just in moderation. But to be intentional about health. Hey, I have family, I'm like, you need to take your ass to the doctor. Like, man, I don't think there's nothing wrong. When did you become an MD?
Right.
Man, you have one catastrophic health event, that could be your ass. I mean, you get a couple $100,000 worth of bills. So, not to sound a preacher or anything like that, because I try to do my best, but it's just, hey, just go to the doctor. Just make sure as brothers, we actually are taking care of ourselves, going to the doctor, getting checkups, and decisions like that, man, you can't, with health insurance, some people don't, hey, man, I didn't use any of my health insurance money. I didn't go to the doctor. I'm like, well, that's what the health is. I mean, the idea, you got to go. How you going to, if you got a car and there's lights coming on, at least you can see the damn lights. I got to change the oil, got to do this. I said, your body got the same shit. Yeah. But the only problem is, you don't even know the lights are on.
Yeah, you ain't paying attention.
You ain't going to get the medical diagnosis and the checkups. Because I thought, I'm a pretty healthy guy, but I've had physicals. I get my numbers. It's it wasn't super bad, but it was like, hey, man, doctor's like, hey, your cholesterol is a little up. It's not up in terms of medication, but it's up over the last time you came here. Yeah. So you watch what you eat and do this and do that. But absent that shit, I wouldn't have even known, because I'm doing good. I'm lifting, I'm running. So we just got to take care of ourselves. Everybody figure that out.
Not let Dr. Google be our main way of finding out stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's as good as a start. Yeah, it's a start, but hell, take your ass to the primary care physician.
You should at least be going to the doctor once a year.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
get your urine, get your blood, get all that stuff checked out.
Most employers kind of they should. I know Cincinnati Public Schools does. They they give you a benefit for going to see your doctor.
Absolutely.
So if you go, you get money towards
get some credits and stuff.
It's credits
yeah,
and stuff like that. So
yeah.
you want to go. Like, I mean, they were giving $500 to get the COVID test.
Man, I mean, with
the COVID vaccination, I'm like, man, give me my vaccination.
I tell you a personal story. So my mother passed away. So we have a scholarship for her, 501c2. My mother passed away at 56. Hell, I'm 53. I'll be 54 in October. And she unfortunately passed away because she had cervical cancer. And cervical cancer, for the most part, can be caught, like if you actually are regularly getting your pap smears, you know what I'm saying, getting checked out or whatever. As it turned out, by the time she got diagnosed, it was stage 4, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Once it's stage 4, it's metastasized and it's gone so many places that it's only it's a very short window. So within about 9 months of her diagnosis, she passed away. But, we had really good, solid relationships. So I didn't have to build really any fences. But hell, at 56 years old, man, I was 34. And I was like, man, this is sad. And it was unnecessary. And so she has, it was 6 girls. So it was 5 sisters. And I can tell without it being explicitly said that, the surviving sisters were probably thinking in their mind, man, we should have sort of probed her more to say, have you been going to the doctor? Because if, like I said, from my reading on cervical cancer, if you get those sort of precancerous cells and that comes out in the pap smear, you cannot, that's almost curable, is what I'm saying. So my personal experience, unfortunately, learning through that, and as African-Americans, sometimes we're like, man, I ain't going to no damn doctor. And rightfully so, we got a lot of suspicions because of history over the medical community. But even with that, when that happened with my own mother, I was like, and we had conversations and she was accepting what was going to ultimately go down. And, she would say, hey, one of the things you got to do is you got to make sure you stay on top of this. And so that's, so when that happened, I was like, shit, I don't want to know. Who wants to know? Who wants to? When I'm going into physical next week, I'm praying to God. I'm hoping everything is good. I don't want to go. And one part of me I don't want to do this shit because I don't really want to find out. But the other part of me, my mother's voice come up you better take your ass to the doctor and get checked out. Learn from history.
Got to get checked out. My mom passed at, she was 46.
Wow.
But she took, my parents took us to the doctor regularly. But she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
Yeah.
She passed when she was 46.
Man.
And so by the time they found out, it was already terminal. So my dad took her to Greece overseas.
Had a good time.
There was supposed to be a doctor over there who could cure cancer with these shots. So it was my mother and another lady. They flew her overseas, and she just never made it home. She died over in Greece. But yeah, you have to stay proactive in your health. Yeah. You can't be reactive because sometimes it could be too late. It'll be too late.
Absolutely. And then one final thing, and with my sons, one of the things I also emphasize is the notion, because I think sometimes we be avoiding death ain't gonna happen to us. And this is an uncomfortable conversation to even talk about, man, the finality of everything. But I recently, and I know you guys gotta go, but I recently went out because I'm trying to, estate planning and money going to my boys and the foundation, all that stuff is set up so that the money flows and people ain't fighting at the estate. It's all clear. I went out to where I want to be buried about 3 weeks ago, Heritage Acre. It's a natural kind of place where you can be buried. I'm going to be buried in a shroud. I'm not doing no casket. But you can choose whatever you want. But to actually go there, I went there 3 weeks ago and just walked around. It's okay, this is probably where it's going to be for me. And I tell my boys that, and it helps you mentally. It was actually, as I was driving away from the place, it was an anxiety, man, this is kind of crazy. I'm going to a place to look at where I'm thinking about my final resting place. But as I was rolling out of there, I felt a sense of relief.
Yeah.
Because what I realized is, it's hey, this shit's going to happen. Don't even try to bullshit yourself that it's not going to happen. And then what it does, for me at least, it gives me a real focus on the now. I know this shit's going to happen. So every day, every minute, if I get a chance for us to fellowship like this shit is golden because you don't know. I had another brother I hadn't seen in a long time. He was in town. I really had to rearrange some shit to make my schedule work today to meet him. I was like, you know what? I mean, I never see this. I ain't seen the brother in about 6 years. I don't know if I'm ever see him again. And it sounds crazy to be like, so I was like, I'm going to make this shit count. I can make it happen. And so whether it's traveling, jiu-jitsu, however you want to do starting a business, when you realize that, it will really, for me, it puts some additional emphasis and focus on making the time that we have count. Like, make that shit count, you know? So
ended on that.
Yeah, that's a good place to end it right there.
Great spot to end it, man.
All right, brothers. Well, look, I love you guys. Y'all be in contact. Eric, I'll give you, Doug, if you give me his number, I'll give you my number and we can go through it. I can do it. Anything you got questions on, I'll do all I can to help.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, man. That's
just
what's
real quick, just go ahead and share, you know, where we can find your book. I know you sent me a link on Amazon.
Yeah, so the book is really about my sons and I, and kind of, it's more kind of a position of the father-son's journey through life, and we have different chapters, but yeah, you can get it on Amazon.com. It's Right On My People. Let me see if I'll just real quickly. I think I have the page. So if you go to Amazon, see if I hit share, and you hit this, it's called Right On My People's Book of Social Transformation. So it's a paperback book, and I wrote it with my sons, one, for just us chronicling some of our experiences. It's not like you know, I'm not saying you should parent this way or anything. This is just, hey, this is what we did. It worked for us. You can see the solar panels and stuff. And so it's just me talking about different things, goal setting, nutrition, and just all kinds of stuff. And so I just said, you know, per my other point, I need to write this shit down. Like, I need to memorialize this, because when I'm gone, I want them to have, this would be almost like their little Bible, you know, for them. And then, you know, maybe able to help other people. So if you guys want to, you know, it's obviously not super expensive or anything like that, but we wrote this a couple years back, and, you know, that's what it's back. And then I do, my mom, you know, I did a scholarship foundation. So we give 4 scholarships every year to students who are like the high achieving students from her high school. And that's the way I deal with the grief of the loss, is being able to say, I'm going to channel this energy and be sad on Mother's Day and all that stuff. But then I'm going to channel this energy to put myself into something that's kind of positive. And then when we go to that ceremony and my mom's name is mentioned and these students get the awards, then it gives me a sense of joy, because I'm able to perpetuate her, like, even though she's not here. So, and that's my way of dealing with the grief of the loss. So.
Well, we want to thank you again, Eric. You want to wrap us up, and I'll definitely pass your information on to Eric and whoever else wants to, you know, chop it up with you offline.
That's good, man. I appreciate it, brothers.
Hey, Ross, once again, appreciate you for joining us. Hops and Stocks, episode 40, signing off. We out.
Peace. Be good, brothers. Be safe.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks, Ross. Peace out, man.
Be a shell of a man if we ever depart. From my heart to I'm riding with you. I'm riding with you.
Podcast is presented by Untitled Media Group. We encourage our listeners to drink responsibly. Please note, we are not financial advisors. We do not offer or provide financial advice. Trademark copyrighted by Untitled Media Group.